Can you all please remember, don't crystal ball things, don't try to time the market. No one can do it, not even Warren Buffett. Okay, everyone, get settled down. I think we don't have full attendance today. Kudos to those of you who still come for class today. So we're going to start. I've already gotten some of the questions that some of you have posted in the system last night. So we have selected the good ones. And there are some, I still need to correct some of the thinking that we have been talking throughout this semester. All right, so we'll quickly start. I'm not going to wait for the rest who are slowly coming in. Those who are already here, let's begin. Okay, first question. Quite disappointing question. I will still read it out. The recession is coming, so there could be correction to the market. Do I buy now or wait for the correction? Again, I think I've repeated it so many times. Can you all please remember, don't crystal ball things. Don't try to time the market. No one can do it, not even Warren Buffett. So this question again, recession is truly here and there could be corrections, but the thing is, how much, when, no one will know. So I'm not going to answer this question because I've repeated this so many times in the class. Alright, so this is a very, very bad question. For this student, unfortunately, F9 for you. Okay, you're not paying attention to previous lessons. Let's quickly move on to the next question now. This is a very good question from one of you. It shows that you are paying attention to public news. The question is, in your recent interview with SCMP professor, you talk about foreigners buying properties in Singapore and the correlation to prices here. Can you explain more whether do foreigners really drive up prices? So I want to quickly dive into this question because there are a lot of things I shared with the reporter which cannot be published out simply because the article has to be kept to a very concise length. So firstly, foreigners, they only make up about 10% of the buying market in Singapore. 80 to 85% are still locals and PRs as well. So if they only make up a small portion of the market, it's really not quite possible for such a small market to tip the balance and cause prices to increase. Firstly, you need to understand that when developers set the price for new launches, they set it way ahead regardless of who is going to buy them. So the prices are not dependent on nationality. So in Singapore, we have one consistent price for everyone, regardless of where you come from. So foreigners mainly buy in the CCR area, which has always been much higher than other places because it's the prime location in Singapore. So CCR is high, not because foreigners buy there. CCR is high because it is CCR. It's very simple and logical. Just that foreigners tend to buy in central areas because they do not buy in the outskirts and they do not buy where primary schools are because as a foreigner, they don't qualify for local primary schools. So very important to understand this kind of policies. And then recently I heard in the parliament there was some debate about HDB prices going up because of foreigners. I think some basic information needs to be correct. Foreigners cannot buy HDB flats. Alright, so that's a full stop right there. I'm not going to talk more about it. Second part of the question, will the private market come down? I will just answer based on CCR because this area is a predominant area where foreigners buy. So I think that prices in CCR will at least hold steady. There will definitely be some form of correction because of the economy and the recession. It will not drop as much as OCR or RCR because there's a constant influx of buyers into that area. That's how I will answer this question. Very good question from this student. I'll give you an A2 because it shows that you are keeping up with recent news. Very good job. Right, the next question is also very important. The question here is that, do I think there will be further cooling measures? Again, we are not here to crystal ball, but let me share a story that happened very recently, which happens to one of my previous students, because last year they were looking to sell their condo and then buy a HDB flat, right? So they want to cash out, and we have seen this year how high it has gone up. So the good thing was that they took action last year and they sold their condo for a good profit and they bought the HDB. So when the cooling measure came out recently, they were so happy that they managed to take this step. If not, they will be greatly affected. So I always tell whether my clients or my ex-students is that don't wait for policy changes and then react. There have been precedents before that the government will make some changes when they see the market heating up, and you don't want to react to those news and then be taking action only after the policy is changed. You can see here, I flash up in the screen just for very quick understanding of what happened. My ex-student actually texted me and said that thank you so much for telling us what to do last year. So now they're happily in their new place without having to be worried about being affected by a policy change. That is always how real estate should be done. You should not be reacting to policy changes, but you should be doing what you need to do, but understand the market and take action fast and decisively. Right? So this question, I think it's a good one, but I can't give you an A2. I feel that there's still a bit of crystal balling effect in this, so I'll give you a B3. There will be further cooling measures in Singapore. There always will be. So always remember that. Alright class, that's all for today. Good job for the guy who asked about the interview with SAMP. I really want to encourage you, read up the news, find out what's happening in the recent economy, the market. All these are related to real estate. So that's all for today. Thank you very much, and I hope the questions will continue to improve. Remember, don't crystal ball, get the fundamentals right, and then you will know how to interpret the market, because the market always operates by fundamentals. I will wrap up for today. Thank you very much. Back up, and I'll see you next week.